Human Health and Diseases, Part 1 of Class 12 Biology. So today we will learn about different human health diseases and how we can keep healthy. So what is health? The World Health Organization defines health as the state of complete physical, mental and social well-being which is not merely an absence of any disease or infirmity. So balanced diet, personal hygiene, regular exercises are very important to maintain good health, and one or more than one organ or systems of body, if they start malfunctioning or if they don't start working properly, then that state is called the unhealthy state, or also called the disease state or disease state. Diseases are of two types. One is infectious, another one is non-infectious. Infectious is something which gets very easily transmitted from one person to another, and non-infectious is the one which does not. So common diseases in human beings, there are a wide range of organisms ranging from bacteria, virus, fungi to protozoans, etc. that could cause diseases in humans, and these disease causing organisms are nothing but pathogens, okay, or microorganisms. So Salmonella typhi, S. typhi, is a bacterium which causes typhoid to humans, and typhoid can also be confirmed by the Widal test. Now, Streptococcus pneumonia and Haemophilus influenzae both cause diseases pneumonia in humans that infects the alveoli of lungs. You know what happens in pneumonia? The alveoli becomes completely white because of the deposition of mucus. Okay, so the person cannot breathe. He has breathing problem, and that gets filled with water. The lungs are filled with water. Alright, so symptoms of pneumonia that includes fever, chills, cough, headache, all these things. What happens in normal cold, that same thing but a little bit more severe. But if it is too severe, then it can also have grey to bluish colored lips and fingertips. So rhinovirus, that is very common, that causes the common cold. Symptoms can be nasal. We are having like uncomfortable nasal passage because of the blockage, and nasal congestion, discharge, sore throat, hoarseness, cough, headache, tiredness, etc. Malaria is caused by protozoan Plasmodium vivax. P. vivax, P. malaria, P. falciparum, different types of Plasmodium. Last one causes the malignant malaria, this one, falciparum. Now female Anopheles mosquito is the vector of Plasmodium. Okay, life cycle, coming to the Plasmodium in details. Okay, we're studying about Plasmodium in details here. So this is the two life cycles that we observe here. One will be in the body of the mosquito and another will be in the human body, human host. So as we can see, let's start from here. Okay, gametocytes. So what happens, female mosquito takes up the gametocytes with a blood meal. Okay, so mosquito takes up the gametocyte of the Plasmodium, of the protozoa. Okay, then fertilization happens inside, that takes place in the mosquito's gut. Okay, then sporozoites inside the salivary glands, mature infective stages, that is sporozoites, they escape from the gut and they migrate to the mosquito's salivary glands. And when the mosquito bites, now this is the stage of transfer to a human being. Mosquito biting a human being, what is happening? Human beings are injected with a bite. So parasites, sporozoites reach the liver through blood. So our human liver, okay, parasites are entering the human liver through blood, and the parasite reproduces there asexually in the liver cells, bursting the cell and releasing it into the blood, and then they reproduce again asexually in the RBCs, therefore causing the busting of the RBC sometimes, and that causes the cycles of fever to continue. Released parasites infect new RBC, and then at sexual stages gametophytes that develop in the RBC, male female caused, again forming gametocytes, and again the whole thing is continuing. So Entamoeba histolytica, that is the causative agent of amoebiasis, that is amoebic dysentery, that's a protozoan parasite, okay, that stays in the large intestine of human beings. Symptoms include constipation, abdominal pain, cramps, whatever people feel during dysentery. Stools with excess mucus, blood clot. Houseflies act as a vector in this case. Ascaris also, that is causes ascariasis, that symptoms are internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia, blockage of the intestinal passage. Now, Wuchereria bancrofti and Wuchereria malai, they are the worms which cause the elephantiasis or the filariasis. What happens, in the legs, it becomes completely swollen, okay, legs look like that of elephant's legs. Human beings' legs become completely swollen. It's a very pathetic scene. In the chronic inflammation in the organs for years using lymphatic vessels of the lungs. Usually the lymphatic vessels of the legs become destroyed because they are inflamed. The pathogen is transmitted by female mosquito, and the fungi belonging to the microspore and Trigophyton, Epidermophyton, causes ringworms. That is the most common infectious disease in humans. Heat and moisture of course helps fungi to grow, and maintenance of personal and public hygiene in this case is very important. Maintenance of hygiene is the best possible remedy in this case. In case of airborne diseases like pneumonia, then common cold, contact with the infected person and his or her belongings must be avoided at any cost to control and prevent the disease. Diseases which require a vector like that of mosquito can be controlled by making the surroundings clean. Of course, you know what happens during dengue season. What we are told to always, avoid the stagnation of water around us, because that is the breeding place of mosquitoes and that increases in the dengue level. Advancement in biological sciences has always provided us various vaccination which is controlled. Now, as of now, many diseases are under control, but many are not. That is all because of vaccination. So the ones which are not, we have to keep working for them, and that is why research is important. Now, immunity. How much immune you are to a particular disease is dependent from one person to the other, and it depends on your overall genetic makeup. So the ability of the host body to fight against the disease causing microorganisms, and that is with the help of one's own immune system, is called the immunity. That's the two types, innate and acquired. Innate means which you are born with, okay? Born with, innate, naturally occurring. So that is present in the time of birth, like it is provided by the physical barriers. Physical barrier means the skin, the outermost layer on the body, the mucus coating in the nose, the throat, gastrointestinal and urogenital tracts. Then the physiological barrier, that is next layer, that is in the stomach we have the HCl layer, then the saliva in the mouth, the tears in the eyes, all this prevent the there's a reason why all of this is present in the body, not just like that. Cellular barriers are also there, like WBC. WBC are what? They are the soldiers of the body, like PMNL, neutrophils, monocytes, NK, that is natural killer cells, okay, macrophages in the tissues, all this. And phagocytosis plays a major role here for killing the microorganisms. And the cytokines. Cytokines are what? They are chemical messengers which are released in response. So in COVID also what happens? The cytokine is increased. The IL-6 is actually increased in the human beings, which indicates to your body that yes, there is a COVID virus inside your body that protects the non-infected cells, and as soon as this IL-6 is released, your immune system gets activated. And then come to acquired immunity. Acquired means something which you are acquiring it, developing it during your lifetime, when your body is actually coming in contact with various pathogens, that produces a mild response, that's called the primary response. And along with that, what happens, there are two cells, okay, memory cells, and that is stored in future if the pathogen comes back and strikes back to your body, so that your body has a memory and that can fight back very easily. That is called the secondary response. Primary response is the initial response, that is the first stage of response. These responses are caused by B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. Now, B lymphocytes produces proteins called antibodies, which are very common, and various types like IgA, M, E, G, all these are possible. As these antibodies are found in the blood, they are also called humoral immune response, because they are found in the blood. Another type possible is cell-mediated immunity, where T lymphocytes mediated response comes in the category, and the body is able to differentiate between self and non-self. That means which is your own and which is not your own, which you should work against. That is differentiated using cell-mediated immunity. If you see the figure of the antibody here, this is the region which is capable for the antigen binding. Antigen comes and binds here. That means this is the variable region and this is the constant region. Okay, this is the heavy chain and this is the light chain. And antigen, so both sides, this is a Y-shaped structure, if you can see. Y-shaped structure, light chain, heavy chain, both are possible. Now, active and passive immunity. Active immunity is from when your bodies antibodies are directly involved in the providing of immunity. But in the passive is when you're taking the antibodies from someone else's body. For example, what we thought about plasma therapy in case of COVID, that is a passive immunity, because we were taking the plasma from a person who has already been affected by COVID and developed antibody resistance against it. Active immunity is when the host produces antibodies when the host is exposed to an antigen, and that's a time-taking response, whereas passive is something which is already ready-made. You're just giving it directly to the body to fight antigens. Now, coming to vaccination and immunization. Vaccination is what? A dead and weakened organism from the pathogen is injected into the body, and ultimately you are letting your immune system respond to it. Intentionally, you are letting it do and killing the antigen that also creates the memory T cell and the B cell, which will recognize the pathogen if it comes in future. This is also called the passive immunization, so that you are passively immunizing your body. Allergies are the ones which are caused due to allergens, which are nothing but the external the foreign substances which activate your immune system. Okay, some people are allergic towards say brinjal, some are allergic towards pollen, dust, so it differs from person to person. What happens scientifically here, IgE antibodies are generated in this case. Okay, allergy is because of the release of histamines and serotonin from the mast cell, and drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline, steroids, all this reduce the symptoms of allergy. Now coming to autoimmunity, autoimmunity is like human body which can differentiate the antigens which are its own and which are foreign. Okay, the ones which when they can differentiate, that is called autoimmunity. In some cases the body attacks its own cells, that is very very dangerous. Okay, example in rheumatoid arthritis, the body is not being able to understand which is its own and which is not. Immune system in the body consists of lymphoid organ, tissue, cells, antibodies. Lymphoid organs what? Lymphoid organs is specifically in the bone marrow and thymus. They are the primary lymphoid organs where the maturation and proliferation of lymphocytes happens. Lymphocytes differentiate and mature here, then move to the secondary lymphoid organs like spleen, lymph nodes, tonsil, Peyer's patches, appendix, all these are secondary immune response organs of our body. Bone marrow is the male lymphoid organ where all the blood cell and lymphocytes are produced, and thymus is large at the time of birth, but as soon as the age keeps on increasing, the thymus size keeps on reducing, and that by puberty it attains a very small size. And if the thymus is absolutely absent, it's called Digeot syndrome, which is again another abnormality and which is very harmful for the human beings. And lymphoid tissues are located in the lining of major tracts, okay, like respiratory, digestive, urogenital, and they are also called mucosal associated lymphoid tissue, or the MALT, which is nothing but the secondary lymphoid organ system. Let me also take a moment to introduce you to Missionet. It is an online tutoring and mentoring service which connects you to Tier 1 college students of IITs, NITs, AIMS, etc., from which you can ask any kind of doubts which you may have with regards to your competitive or board examinations. Their fees start from a menial ₹1,000 per subject per month, where you get the said services along with AI-based feedback as well. You can reach out to them at contact@missionet.in for any queries. That marks the end of our session. Hope that was good. Make sure that you like the video and subscribe to our channel for further updates. Thank you.